I just went live on my UFO Conspiracies channel. I said I was going to go live here for a few minutes. We were live with it for about an hour and 20 minutes. So we talked about this hearing that actually happened today. And I know I posted a video here as well. So I want to give you guys a couple of minutes to chime in and discuss it real quickly and give you some of my thoughts on it and answer possibly any questions you guys may have on this. So I'm going to try to scoot up a little bit closer so I'm not leaning forward and knocking this all down and all that. So I'll have to make sure the comments are enabled. Live chat, there we go, not just top chat. And wait for you guys to come on and we'll discuss this because this was a very, 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 very important meeting. Regardless of what some people may say, they wanted more, but I think we got what we needed. I really, really do. There was some great questions that were being asked and some great answers. And I think that we will get more disclosure by the end of this year. It's been a good year so far for this for disclosure. So, what's going on in from Ohio? Nanoscape, and we got Texas in the house. What's going on? Chris is in here. What's going on? Yeah, this is getting pretty serious with some stuff. I just went live with my UFO conspiracy channel. I was going to go live with you guys as well. This topic today was very, very interesting. If you guys have not checked it out, it's 2.5 hours. It is more than worth it because there were some very good questions that were being asked and some very good answers. But before we talk, you guys smash that like button. We got about 14 people on real quick, and I just want to have an open discussion if we can answer any questions that you guys may have, and then talk a little bit about kind of what transpired today. And I'll just start off, and I just like I said, I thought this was a great hearing. They did have three whistleblowers out there. I think David Gersh was the one that I'm not going to say stole the show, but he's got more of the information than anybody else. The other two were naval pilots, and they did witness particular aircraft, and they did give their testimony. They all swore before Congress that what they stated was true, and I think it was great. I really do. So appreciate that, Waller. Yeah, I try to give a good mixture of both. I was actually going to make this a UFO channel, but I figured still do the RC car stuff. But today was phenomenal. I wish they would have had Bob Lazar, but I just heard from my other channel that he declined to come or be on that. But he would have been a great witness to that. But I think he probably would have been asked questions he would have felt uncomfortable answering. But he just said, I just denied. He could have denied the question to answer the question. But lo and behold, if you guys have watched it, let me know because it was great actually what happened. Like I said, David Gersh, he mentioned a lot of stuff, but he couldn't give answers to some stuff because it's still he's still under kind of NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and it was still confidential or classified, I should say. It hasn't been declassified. But he did tell a lot of the congressmen that he can expose that a little bit later or in a secure area where they can talk more about it. So, coming to some of these questions, you guys don't forget to smash that like button if you're on and you're watching. So, the whistleblowers, Dr. Greer said they are all protected. Yeah, there's an act now. What they want but can't get harmed or troubled. Yeah, there was something they passed. I forgot the name of it already, but that they can actually come out. Even naval pilots, even regular commercial pilots can come out and start talking about this. They even mentioned that in the meeting. They said that they believe only about 5% of the pilots in the water or something actually came forward what they saw as far as, I'm going to say UFO, I'm not going to say UFP, UFOs. So there's another 95% of people out there that haven't said stuff because, of course, they're fear of repercussion and all this stuff, which in the past that was something that happened, but now it's a little bit different. So, yeah, more whistleblowers will be coming forward. Whistleblowers is going to be a new term. I think that's going to be the 2023 term of the year is whistleblower because I think a lot more people are going to come forward with it. And this meeting was really good. I mean, everybody stuck to the facts and they stuck to the truth. Nobody tried to fabricate stuff. If they didn't have an answer, they didn't give an answer, or they said they didn't know. I mean, that's basically what it was. So I think that was good. And I think the questions that were asked by all of them were excellent. The way they were answered were excellent. Because it's all in the news now. If you guys start searching on this, you'll find out even Fox News and stuff are reporting about this. Because, of course, they want ratings. It's news, and they want to get people to start watching, whatever they can with that. So Jeremy Corbell and them were actually there, too. They were behind the whistleblowers listening. So I can expect them to be on his weaponized podcast tonight or tomorrow and talking more about that, which would be good. But I just wish they had like Bob Lazar or somebody on that panel because he actually physically worked on the craft. So while it says, do you know if Bob Lazar ever plans on talking to Congress? Do you believe all these whistleblowers are in the UFO or in UFO and YAP? I think you mean UAPs. Well, to answer the first one, I don't know if Bob Lazar will, only because there's some stuff that he may not want to mention that they may ask him about. And although he's not under an NDA and stuff, he can only talk. He's even said he can talk. He can name some names off that would expose what he did with the truth. And you got to think about Element 115. He has some of that. So, and they said he denied coming on here. I would have came if I was him because he would have backed it up, his story more than anything else. By him denying it, I'm going to say this, it's going to make him less credible by him denying not being on there, because he still should have came and sat on the panel and only chose to answer particular questions or said, I can answer this in a closed environment. So I believe he should have come on this and talk. But by him not coming, I think it discredited him more from a lot of people. He should have done it. I think at this point, he does owe us at least that much as far as he's come. I mean, if they had did this in the 90s when he came forward, their late 80s, early 90s, it would have been real good. So Chris said, what happened in the next hearing? I don't know if you're talking about Bob Lazar, more disclosure, but I think with the information David Gersh has and what he's going to expose to Congress, I think that the next hearing, hopefully it won't be another freaking year. We don't need to do it in a couple months. Do it next month. Hopefully it'll start coming forward. Or hopefully we'll start getting more leaked footage, because we had something a couple of months ago where a satellite caught like a ball, looked like a cannonball. Somebody said it wasn't a cannonball, but it was a circular shaped ball, and it was metallic, and it was going from point A to B just like this. And they caught it on film, and they only showed us so much of it. So hopefully we'll get more of that. I'm glad that they didn't try to show any BS video like they did last year, because what they showed last year was complete garbage. The footage they showed. So I'm glad they didn't even waste our time with that. So he who says Lazar and Gear are frauds is why I believe Bob Lazar. I think we've talked about that before. I always will. I believe he did do what he did. So it's controversial with some people, but I believe Bob Lazar. So was a last question. Anything more coming out of the Las Vegas UFO and alien crash? I don't know. I put that to bed. I kind of divorced that because it was too suspect with that, with Bob Lazar. I mean, not with the whole Vegas incident. Only because they had several people. It wasn't just the kid that saw it. So there were two other people, if I can recall, the whole incident, that actually went back there and saw it. And the kid was in the back, and then there was a lady holding a camera. So the two people that were in front should have come forward. Okay, the kids got anxiety and all that. Okay, get out the picture then. Let the other two come forward. So I wish they had came forward and said something. That would have been good if they did, but they didn't. So that's kind of why I put that to bed and just divorced that thing, because some of the evidence where people said they saw him sitting back on the tractor, I couldn't really see it. I know they enhanced some of the videos. There could have been something there. They could have planted those things there, maybe a shadow of something, but they didn't really move. But people were enhancing videos and stuff. So it like I said, it's a back and forth thing. It was too skeptical. Some of the stuff that they stated was back to like the circle in the backyard or whatever, and the gravel was back there. They proved that on Google Earth. That was back there in 2001, I think it was. And that was it. I think there was a camera put on their house for a couple of days and then it was taken down. But if he found something like that, regardless whether they want to be famous or not, you found something that people wanted to see, and they should have come out with that. So yeah, hopefully we get some more information on the Roswell incident. That's always been interesting. I do believe they may have mentioned it, but there was no real answer for it because none of those witnesses have actually were alive during Roswell. I think David Gersh may have some information on it, but that's about it. I mean, I think that he's got a lot of information. He even mentioned that he's never seen a UFO or a UAP. He's never seen one. like in person, but he's got documents to back up his story, and he's got documents and testimonies from people even that he knows that have had issues about this. So I think that he is a very key important person as far as us trying to move forward with this. So yeah, they've got footage. So hopefully the information that he's releasing, the footage he has, will actually be exposed. Hopefully this congressional group that was actually meeting will see this stuff and says, "Oh no, we got to get this out. They've got to see this." And then bam, we got disclosure because this thing is already on the news everywhere. I did see it in a couple places. So hopefully they will get this out. So Chris says, how is the government going to protect our pilots in the air? Well, they probably have craft. Some of this stuff is there. Now, remember that, Chris. They do have stuff called ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, that they've had since the 50s. And we have been reverse engineering this stuff for the last 50 plus years. Some of the stuff that you see or you and I see that may be considered UFOs is our stuff. So, as far as protection goes, we've weaponized probably some of this stuff as it goes forward. So I'm not too worried about the protection of our pilots and stuff. I think we need to figure out, we need to be exposed to what's really going on first and then worry about everything else. I'm always skeptical about not being able, why isn't, an alien or a UFO, whatever, landed somewhere in the public eye for it to see. So, yeah, Wally, I think we all wanted to see that. I think that I think legally they may not have done that. But when it boils down to it, it's fine. Unless they come out, because like I said, it was more than one in that Vegas incident. The other two need to come out. It's to me, that was such BS. That's why I walked away from it, because the kid act like he was the main person, and he was in the back. He couldn't even really see it. I mean, he saw probably over somebody's shoulder, but the two that were in front, the one that was in the front, dad, cousin, uncle, he should be the one people should be talking to. He should be the one out there making videos, because just because the kid's got anxiety, you got other people too. And the thing is, it's not going to go away. That kid's going to be talked to and ridiculed, I guess, his whole life now. So you may as well go ahead and get it out the way. You may as well go ahead and sit down with somebody and say, hey, this is what happened, or we fabricated the story. Leave me alone. So. Lucas says, you're really smart, brother. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some too. So that's why I put them periodically. I have a channel, UFO Conspiracies. I mentioned that a lot. I did the whole channel dedicated to this, but I put stuff out here to pique you guys' interest in it. And there's one important thing: if you guys can't smash that like button. We got about 26 people on and 9 likes, so I'd appreciate if y'all smash that like button. That's going to help me to continually get the YouTube algorithm. I know it's painstaking to hear somebody say that all the time, but it does help if you guys hit that. So so Brian's RC stuff. Oh, knocking this down. Oh, knock my camera down. Hopefully you guys can still see me. I was trying to read a comment. Give me a second. Man down. All right, here we go. I was trying to read a comment. So Brian says, hopefully this is a little crooked. Get this adjusted a little bit. Love your UFO coverage. I've always wondered why the UFOs don't show up in more obvious places. Exactly. What are they doing exactly besides randomly flying around? Why not just hover above Times Square? Exactly. And there's actually some, I just mentioned on my other channel about one I saw years ago. There are some that are actually transparent. I was driving, and this was on Club Drive in Georgia. And there was a cloud, and the cloud circulated. Like, if you take a glass of water, you take a spoon and you stir it up, and the little tornado that creates inside, that's what happened to this cloud. Something dissipated from the cloud like this, and then it stopped somewhat, and then it kind of went back up. Like somebody took a glass, put a spoon in and stirred it up, and then when you stir it and take the spoon out, it like swirls, and then it kind of dissipates. That's what this thing did. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was a cloaked object. Maybe it was a weird phenomenon, but I mean, that was one instance. I've seen them before, but why aren't they coming down right now? We got all these particular races visiting this earth. Not every race is going to have the same agenda if that's what they are. If they're interdimensional beings, if they're demonic beings, whatever it is, come down and show us. And obviously, they've talked to somebody. People in a higher up or a higher sector of government are in communication with something because they've actually reverse engineered and got some of this technology, which was exposed today. I mean, they talked about the budget. I was so surprised that they talked about the budget of the White House and stuff, and how they audit it every year, and it's always off by billions of dollars. And then they have audit records that are off and all that stuff. So that's how this stuff is getting funded. But I was surprised that topic actually came up. That fascinated me. So yeah, we know we've weaponized it. I mean, we're humans. We're violent in nature, so we've weaponized this stuff. I don't know if you guys know David Gear. I keep wanting to say Greer, but David Gear. He did something similar at the middle of June, and he had some whistleblowers on there. And one thing that he talked about, it was a couple things, but one important thing he talked about was how they communicate. He said they had a certain place here on Earth where they built a communication center, and he said since these craft can fly at the speed of light or faster, they had to make a communication center that can actually communicate with them. So whatever they're communicating with them with can go even faster. And it makes sense because we got airplanes and we can communicate with them. We got jets that can fly at 2 or 3 thousand miles per hour, probably faster, SR-71, and we can communicate with them. So it make only sense that we communicate with these. Now, how that works, they kind of broke it down. It was far beyond anything I could understand. But so yeah, this Los Angeles thing, I just dropped that thing, or the Las Vegas thing, and just everything that was going on, I just let that go. So I appreciate that, Lucas. I got more coming. Got some stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks and months. I think you guys will like. So I'm not sure if you're talking about the RC channel or doing UFO stuff. I started my channel. I didn't even do anything. I started this channel in 2007. I didn't even put anything up, and I didn't put my first video up until 2011 or 12. And I just did it just periodically, just because I love my Stampede 4x4. So I was doing videos on that because I didn't care. I just was doing it. And when Jang from URC stopped doing videos, I said, well, let me try to start doing videos. And it's taken time for me to get this particular format up, and it can be improved. So I say this, I know this is off the topic, but if anybody wants to do a YouTube channel, just do it. Don't even think twice about it. Just do it, make the content, put it out there, because you'll make adjustments as it progresses forward. Use your cell phone. Cell phones have good cameras on them nowadays. Find a way to balance it, find a way to do your videos. They have stabilization on there. Just do it and move forward. There's software out there that is cheap that you can use to edit the videos and stuff. And some phones have like, if you got an iPhone, you ain't got to worry about buying no software for it. But yeah, I hope I need to get that 100,000 subs first. I'm at about 83,000, so hopefully we'll get to that 100. The goal is to get to 100,000 by the end of the year, so that's 17,000 more subs in about 5 months, 5.5 months. So I really got to get on the ball and start getting out some longer content to reach it. But I believe I'll reach it by the end of the year, and hopefully by next year I can have my plaque and show it to you that I reached 100,000 subs. But I want to try to get it. It's like once you hit that 60, 70,000, you're trying to reach that 80 is difficult. But it's like making your first million. Making the first million is hard, but once you get it, getting the rest is going to be easy. So yeah, there is a Bigfoot out there. I still believe in the 1964 footage of Bigfoot. I still believe that was authentic. But let's talk more about this congressional meeting real quick if we can. Brian said, I wonder if they are under the ocean. There's probably, because there's something called USO. So there have been reports of crash coming out the ocean and crash landing in the ocean with that. There's a book called Behold a Pale White Horse where that person talks about he saw on a Navy ship a big UFO, under what unidentified submerged object, or USO. So look that up if you're interested in that. It's called USO, and you'll see a lot of videos on that. So you'll be pretty impressed by some of that information behind that. Getting to this, I believe there are over 50 races. Yeah, it just needs to be defined. I don't know if there's 50 races or 5 races or just one, but yes, we are getting closer. Today's meeting was very, very, very good. People just don't know. They want to see videos and expose and all that. What we got today was really good because we have people that are in Congress that are actually going to back this up. So, um, Kenneth says, "Love your RC channel. Appreciate that. Much love from Cleveland, Ohio. I would love to be the first to get an RC park built, almost like an amusement park with RCs." Yeah, there was a group here called RC Playground. They don't really do too much anymore. They were going to do something like that a couple years ago. Kind of faded away, and they were going to have a traveling bus and stuff. But it's a big budget for that, so it'd be cool if somebody could do something like that. Yeah, the vastness of a space is huge. I mean, go look outside right now, and we're just one planet. So someone asked a question: are there sightings anywhere other than the U.S.? Heck yeah, they're all over the world. I think that the U.S. is more involved in reverse engineering the technology. That's why we see more here because it's our stuff than any other country. I think that we're heavily involved in it. I think we spent a lot of money on it, creating it, weaponizing it, figuring it out, and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, we have all kinds of names and definitions for everything. So, and we've been doing this since I'd say, late 40s, early 50s. We started getting our first craft out. There's a movie out there called Above Logistics. They talk about the first interstellar traffic we created. We actually created from submarines. That's why you see these cigar cylinder shaped UFOs back in the 60s and 70s. How true all that is, I don't know, but it makes more sense than anything else. So, Brian's are still said, hopefully the hearings make more folks come out. I think it will because it's all in the news everywhere. So that will be great if they did that. Yeah, Ryan says more and more info is coming out. The government is going to get back into, yep, a corner real. And I think it's a higher place government. I don't think it's all government officials. I think there's a couple that are in there and then some that are higher up. So I appreciate that, Jay. Try to put some time in here. So yeah, Brian, Bob Lazar, from what I heard, declined to come. He should have come on there, but he might have been asked questions he felt uncomfortable answering. But he probably just didn't feel like it anymore. He's probably so burned out on this. He's told what he's had to told a million and one times. But he should have. I think he owes it to us to actually get out there. He should have come. And there's certain things he should not have answered. I think people talk about his educational background. I think he went to MIT. I don't think he graduated from there. I think he mentioned that. But I think that there's certain things he may not want to talk about because he's not under an NDA, but he is older. But I think that he needs to sit down, and he may have done it, and he needs to make a videotape in case he passes away and says, hey, this is Bob Lazar. This is what happened, and this is what went on, and this is where I put element 115. Here it is right here in this container. Because once he does that, it's a done deal. But you're probably talking about Ronnie, Dr. Stephen Greer. He's the one that's been helping with disclosure. So, yeah, that's 700 species of aliens. That's so sketchy, but it could be. I mean, I only see a couple, but yeah, I just haven't been able to allocate time to do interviews and even this live broadcast. This is just me just filming. I got a blue screen background back here, and I do have software. I just haven't put the time into being able to put software up when I go live and show you guys this and have somebody interviewing, talking back and forth. I mean, it's just I got so much on my plate at times. I just can't do everything. I don't make the time to do everything. I'm saying I can't. It's not that I can't. I just don't make the time, which I need to start. Because I think you guys need to see that, and I owe that to you guys. So, Ronnie, I don't believe in that personally, but I'm not here to preach to you guys about this stuff because I did talk about that a little bit on my other channel. He says he believes God's alien. I don't believe in that, but it's a lot more going on with that. But I don't know if you guys want to hear that, but I can give you guys testimony. So I want to kind of talk about what transpired here, this congressional hearing, because it was phenomenal, guys. It really was. I am working on a video, so I'll have that out in the next. I may do it tomorrow because I normally post on Thursdays to this channel. If you guys want to see more videos on this channel, I can say I'll post twice a week, maybe 3 times a week on this channel. My other channel, I'll post 2 or 3 times. But if you guys want to see more, let me know. Put it down in the comments. If it's several people that say yes, then I'll definitely do it. So, oh, I appreciate the donation, Jay. That helps out. Maybe I'll buy a laptop. I'll save up for one. I can go live and start pulling up screens and stuff. He says, I think Bob did say the tech he worked on, it was hundreds of years ahead of its time. Yeah, it's probably more than that. So Bob Lazar, basically, if you guys don't know, he came out in 1989. If you guys want to hear this real quick. He came out in 1989. He said he worked at Area 51, in particular the S4 division. He was brought in to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. When he first saw it, he thought, because they had an American flag on us upside down, he said, well, this explains all the UFOs people have seen because this is our technology. But when he started working on it, he realized that this is something that we couldn't create, and he was brought in to reverse engineer it. He did say he did see 9 different craft. He said there were the hangar bays, doors are open one day, and he saw 9 different craft in each hangar bay, and they all had a different shape to them. You could think about it maybe with cars or something, but they all probably function the same. But he only worked on one, which he called the sport model. And he has a whole breakdown of the sport model and stuff. So, but Bob should have been on that panel today. I don't, if migraine, headache, or whatever, he should have been on that panel. So, burned out all the way. Poor guy. Yeah, he probably is. But he still needs to take a deep breath, get a little bit of coffee, and come in and expose the stuff. He should have been on there today. Maybe he'll get on next time. I don't know. But I think with David Gears coming forward, we got some new young blood in there, because Bob's probably in his 60s, and David is in his mid 30s, I believe. I think he's 34 to 36. So we got somebody who is fairly new. He's only been in this for a couple of years. He's on the UAP task force that has a lot of information. So with that, I think he will go out there and expose it. So, do you have a link to the hearing? Would love. I have it in a video I posted a couple hours ago. You'll see it, but it's all over everywhere now. You can just search on U.S. Congress hearing on UFOs or whatever, or 3 whistleblowers. You'll see it. But the one I watched, I think, was from space.com. And they were the ones that went live when everybody was streaming for it. I was going to stream and try to go live for it, but I was at work and stuff, so I couldn't do it. But it's actually worth the 2.5 hours. Trust me. I think the video may start a couple of minutes in, but it's worth watching. It really is, because the questions that were asked were legit questions. It wasn't like the one that happened last year where I felt that was just playing a game. That was complete BS last year. This one wasn't, so. Says, for me, I like it when I get into something good on UFOs, but I wouldn't put too much effort into a certain amount a week if there's nothing. Yeah, that hearing is worth watching, so I'd go ahead and watch it. If I were you. If you got time tonight, you can stop watching me here and go over there and watch it, because it's definitely worth watching. I'll do a breakdown of certain points pretty soon. I just try to download the video so I can break down certain points, certain questions that were being asked, so. Yeah, it was good. Like I said, some people were upset because they wanted the truth to come out. Well, there's certain stuff that is still restricted, so he can only talk about so much. But we got more than what we've ever gotten in the last 20, 30 years of people coming forward. So Johnny says, do you think any of these whistleblowers are going to disappear? Nah. I think the 2 Navy pilots they've always talked about what they've seen. So they're fine. I mean, what they've talked about has been nothing new. They said they saw particular things. I think not the pilot that saw the Tic Tac, but the other pilot talked about certain things. But there's only certain things he can talk about too. There's probably a little bit more he can expose, but he just couldn't. David Gersh is the one, I think, that's got the meat of the information that's probably going to come out. So we'll see how that kind of pans out with him. But I don't think they'll disappear. If they do, then it's just going to prove what they said was right. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, if they were going to disappear, Dave would disappear before he did this congressional hearing. So yeah, well, Bob's been around for a while. He could have been taken out a long time ago, but he hasn't been, and it's because Element 115. That's what it boils down to. I think he really has it, and he's also hasn't exposed everything. He's even said himself, there are things I can say and people I can name that will, you know, justify what he said and what he did, but he's just not doing it. And he said he's going to leave it at that. He's not going to go beyond that, and he sticks to facts and truth. So I just wish he would have been on the panel today, and I'll always say that. Maybe he'll get on the next one, maybe he won't. So yeah, he did at first. I don't think he gets too many threats anymore, but yeah, welcome back. I know you guys are on the other channel too, so I think if they get David Gersh and they get Bob Lazar, that's what they need. They need to put those two down, have them swearing again, and then they need to drill Bob. You know, Bob needs to have a clear day, give him a week off. We need to have a GoFundMe so he has time off, whatever. And he needs to go in and he needs to talk about it. Um, that would be good. And if they get him on record and they talk about Area 51 and S4, then that could open up the doors for them to say, hey, we're going over here. And it would be nice if last time they were going to raid Area 51, this time have some congressmen out there and have some people that are going to have the cojones to go up in there. But that's just my opinion. So, yep, Bob should be on Congress. So we'll see how that rolls out with that. But yeah, I talk so much on my other channel, so I'm kind of losing my voice. I don't know if you guys have seen the video or any questions y'all may have, but I just wanted to have an open discussion about it. I thought it was excellent. I wish I could pull up some of the stuff they talked about and put in the background, but I haven't gotten all my software ready for it. But it was very interesting. Good questions asked, good answers given. So I don't know if you guys have any questions for myself or talk amongst yourselves. If not, we can end the live broadcast. It'll be up to y'all if y'all want to stay on for a few more minutes. I know it takes a minute for these notifications and stuff to actually go out. Let's see. I did have some people that did message me a couple of videos from my other channel, and I do want to try to pull those up. He sent it to me, he said on Instagram. So I may try to log in here real quick to see what they sent because I'm interested in some of the videos. He said he has some military videos. So that'll be interesting to see. No, he must have put it on my other channel. So sorry, I was logging into Instagram to see if he put anything out there. So one of the most crazy things was Gersh talking about the recovery of non-human bodies. Yes. And then they asked how the craft crashed and they traveled all these miles and he couldn't expose some of that information. It's probably because of radar, because that's what happened in the 1940s. If it's true, and if a craft did travel hundreds of thousands of millions of miles and they've never heard of radar and particular things we're doing, and they come here, because I've heard of this before. I heard about this in the 1940s report that some radar did disrupt some of the craft and it did mess with them. And that ancient technology we got compared to their superior technology, maybe they didn't accommodate for it. You know, it's like us going to another planet and we're thinking that the atmosphere is breathable, but then we get out there and find out that it's not, that it has certain effects. So that could be what happened. But I know they talked about that too. So, and that could be how some of that craft crashes. You got your electronic magnetic EMBs, I think is our electromagnetic bombs and stuff. If you throw one of those out there and it ran by electricity, bam, it shuts everything down. So, but that was mentioned about that, because I'm trying to see about this. If this guy actually sent me some videos from my other channel. He said he did, but I'll look at it in just a minute. So, Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to look. I think you sent it to me on Instagram. I think you went to the UFO conspiracy, so I'm gonna try to log into that. Um, right now, if I can get in here, I am in here. I see a request. Yep, I see it. Your mom's video, so I got it right here. So you guys probably can't see this. Look at that. See that little blue light? That's what's in there recorded. So it's probably horrible that I'm doing it like this, but so cool. So I did get your message. I did get your videos. I will be looking at this. She said looked like a butterfly, but when she got near it, it was gone. Then as she moved away, it came back. This was in Utah. Okay. Your video is saved. I will actually put that out there probably tonight. And then I got somebody asking me an RC car question. So I'll get on that a little bit tonight and put that out there so you guys can see that. Jay, I've never thought, people have asked me that before. I think my voice sounds regular. I guess I could get more in depth into talking more. I need to be doing more podcasts and stuff on here. I need to be doing a lot more, putting a lot more effort into what I'm putting out here right now. But, you know, but yeah, people have asked me that before. I just think my voice sounds regular, but I need to try it to see how it sounds. I think because I hear my voice all the time, like, yeah. Yeah, don't do nitro cars. That is, you got to tune and test those. If you like to work on them, yeah, because you got to tune them every time. So I have heard about Skinwalker Ranch. I've seen a couple of videos on it. I just never got into it. That would have been cool to have somebody on the panel to their question about Skinwalker Ranch too. I think that would have been pretty interesting. So, that would have been interesting. I mean, they got a whole slew they can open up. They can have all kinds of people, but I think that the people they had out there were liable witnesses. They were all working in the government, and they all swore on oath, and they all can be backed up with their background. So I think that that was good that they had them out there. They just needed Bob Lazar. But regardless, it was still good. I think it was a huge step forward, and I was glad that they did that. So Skinwalker Ranch, I believe, is that New Mexico? I think it is. It's got a lot of phenomena. Just Google search it. There's even a TV show. They've been doing it for years now. It's all kinds of crazy phenomena happen there. I mean, from paranormal to UFOs to all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's certain areas I think that they're trying to open up. I think one of my friends told me about one of the portals or wormholes they were trying to open up. Crazy stuff, y'all. Absolutely crazy. I thought about going out there too, but I don't think I want to do that. So yeah, you'll do that on a nitro car if you don't tune it right. That's kind of why I don't mess with it. I like to just plug and go. I like to just plug and play. So it says talking about the UFO crashes and how their flight characteristics were disrupted or navigation systems causing a crash. Yeah, like I said, it was reported that the radar and the sonar kind of mess with their craft navigation systems. I don't know how that works. I don't know how the craft works, but apparently that disrupted, and that apparently there was the Roswell incident has 5 different scenarios, and I don't know if you guys want me to rant about it because I was going to talk about the congressional meeting, but if we only have about 10 or 11 people on, if 2 or 3 of you guys want to hear the 5, I think it's 5 outcomes of what could happen at Roswell, I'll say it. If 2 or 3 people say yes, different people say yes, I'll go ahead and talk about it. If not, I won't say anything about it. But something did crash at Roswell, and they did report it. And the next day, they tried to retract back that it wasn't a UFO that crashed when it actually was. Whatever it was identified. So Bob actually refused to come. What someone said on my other channel. He wasn't. It wasn't that he wasn't invited. He just refused to be on the panel. It could have been for several reasons, but I think he should have come. I think he owes that to us to actually come out there. Maybe next time he'll do it, but I think he should have come. But he denied to come. I think even as you looked at the room, they were talking about certain people from certain states didn't come. They were probably afraid too to get in the subject. Which some people are just like that. I mean, some people are fearful of things, which just starts messing with your finances. I don't blame them. You start backing off and backing away. So Nansco says Skim Rocket Ranch is lame. Um, I don't know. I'm not going out there though. I mean, I've heard some stuff about that, paranormal stuff, and I'm pretty good on not bringing something back home with me, if that makes any sense. So, all right. So the conclusions on Roswell. I'm gonna try to lay this out talking visually than anything else. So there is, I can't think of his name. It just slipped my mind right now. The guy who recently passed that worked at Skunk Works, the older guy. I can't think of his name for some reason. I got it in my head, but I can't think of it. But he said that we had an experimental craft flying, and the experimental craft actually radio back and says, "There's something out here flying, and it's flying faster than me." And the radio said, they radio back to him and said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "I don't know. Do we have any friendlies?" They said, "No, no enemies." There was nothing in the area. And he was flying at the time the fastest thing they had to fly. And they said, "Can you catch it?" And he said, "I think I can." He said, "Can you shoot at it?" And he said, "I think I can catch it." And he caught up to it and he shot at it and shot it down. The craft had crashed. He actually landed, got out, and he saw some of the bodies. And then he heard the police and everybody else coming. Then he got back in his plane or whatever it was and took off. That was one incident. So he said Boyd Bushman, that's his name. It just popped in my mind. So thank you. Boyd Bushman was the one who said that they had an experimental craft. It caught up to it. It shot it down, and the pilot actually landed, saw some of the beings out there, and then took off and got out of there. So Boyd Bushman, that's one instance. Then you have the lady on Joe Rogan, which I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she had dark black hair, glasses on. She said that the Russians actually jettisoned a probe into um, over that particular area. She said because the Russians were trying to recreate the scare of the War of the Worlds from 1939, and the craft actually ended up crashing. And she said that what was in the craft weren't alien beings; that they were actually, and this goes beyond just whatever human, just crazy, but they were actually human children that were actually manipulated to have big heads and stuff like that. It's crazy. And there's a whole story behind it, but you can find it on the Joe Rogan podcast. And that's what that was. And then our government came in and saw that, and then we saw what they were doing, and we tried to replicate what they were doing and took children. It's just crazy, that whole story. So that's scenario number two. Scenario number three was that this craft was flying, this alien craft was flying, and it actually got struck by lightning, and the lightning hit it, and that caused the craft to actually crash. Story number three was the craft was flying low, and it tried to avoid a lightning strike. It ended up hitting the ground and skipping up, and then hitting again, and then crashing. So that's four, and I can't remember the fifth one right now, but those are the four stories for the Roswell thing. Which of those are really true? I don't know. I tend to believe more Boyd Bushman, because he was at the end of his life and he was just giving deathbed confessions. So those are the things for Roswell. I know that's kind of off topic. If you guys are just joining, we're talking about the congregational stuff, but we were talking about Roswell and the actual crash there, what happened, because there was a whole story behind it. I mean, some people said that the military came in, there were small bodies being found. A coroner was brought in to bring in little caskets, and one of the nurses there was complaining. I know the Wi-Fi's, I think, did something on this, and they couldn't find the nurse. But the guy who actually reported, the coroner, he was younger then. He still has videos on YouTube. I think he's still out there, and he still talks about it. And he believes what he saw because he was told to get out of there. He did see a big military truck, and underneath the bed was some kind of big craft or something there. So he does talk about that. He does have a testimony about that. So obviously something did happen there, because they reported that they saw a flying, that the United States Air Force has recovered a flying disc or flying craft. So that's the whole Roswell thing about it. I know we're on what, the 76th year of Roswell, because last year was the 75th. So Let's see. I want to camp near it so bad. Let me know how that turns out when you camp there, because I'm not camping out there. So with the little green men and stuff, I don't know if you guys now say this too, because we're still talking about this in a way. Um, Doctor Stephen Greer did a disclosure in the middle of June, and go watch his video. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's actually worth watching. But he has a lot of testimonies from whistleblowers too. And with his testimonies, he did talk about one of the so-called gray aliens with the skinny bobs. And I believe he said one of the pilots or one of the military personnel kicked one and knocked it down. And when he kicked it and knocked it down, and they have an artist illustration of it, its side opened up and it had like circuit boards in it. And when he said that, that made me think about the only video we have of the skinny Bob. And people said that it was fake, it was fabricated, it looked like it was computer generated and stuff, and it moved like a big puppet. Well, it all makes sense if what they filmed back in the 50s, that skinny Bob, that black and white, the video, and the ones walking through, if they move like a robot or puppet, and this guy kicked one and had a circuit board in it, that would make complete sense. And I've heard of some of these things being androids or something like that. So how true all that is, I don't know. But apples to apples is still looking like an apple there with that. And I've heard that the little small gray aliens are supposedly workers for them or something. So that would make sense if that happens. So Jay said what messes him up is the archaeological dig. That explains the space time stretch. Yeah. Now, people have asked on my other channel about that, about Bob Lazar not being credible, because he did say that one, that they were given the technology, two, that it was an archaeological find. But they forget that Bob Lazar said he saw 9 craft when he went to Area 51. The bay doors are open one day, and he said he saw 9 craft in the bay doors, and they all had a different shape to them, and they all did not look like the sport model he worked on. So it could be, and he said one of those craft was actually turned up on its side, and it had like something was shot at a projectile or something like that. So it could be that maybe the craft that he was working on was something that was given to him, and then the other craft were actually archaeological finds that they found, they dug up somewhere. He didn't state which was which, because probably he didn't know, but he did get some debriefing documents on it. So maybe it's a mixture of kind of both, but I don't think he worked on he just worked on what he termed the sport model. He didn't work on the other ones. But he said one looked like a top hat. One looked like a jello mold. If you guys search videos, you'll find where he talks about that, which is why he should have been on this panel, because that would have been great, because one of the senators did, or one of the chairmen did ask about Area 51. And that would have been great for Bob Lazar to say, yes, when I was there, I was escorted on a bus, the windows were tinted, you couldn't see out the back of it. But when I got there, I saw XYZ. He can even talk about the aurora, because he did see briefly the aurora. And that, he said, I think he said it was methane driven or something, but he said he saw the back exhaust. There were 4 exhausts in the back of it, and each one had like an X, but it was like a wired X or something. But he said, and it sounded like as it was taking off, like it was actually ripping the air. But he said working on the disc technology, he could care less about something like that, because the disc technology was far beyond that. So yeah, I ain't going out there. I see what you're saying though. So the Aurora is apparently a spy plane. If you look this up, you'll find out a lot about it. I think some people say the TR-3B, which I think they're two different craft, but the Aurora is supposed to be a triangular shaped craft that actually replaced the SR-71 back in the 70s. And I think the Aurora is the black triangle that a lot of people see, but people saying that's a TR-3B too. I think that either they're two separate craft or they may be the same, but the TR-3B is supposed to be a triangular shaped craft, but so is the Aurora. Now, the Aurora is supposed to be using a scramjet technology or something even more advanced than that. But Bob Lazar said he did see it, and he asked, because he said when he was driving up on the bus to Area 51 one day, he heard it, and he said it sounded like it was ripping the sky or ripping the air apart. And he said he briefly saw it as he looked at the front of the bus. As I think he said the driver was driving, and he briefly looked over and he saw the back of it. And he said there were, I think he said there were four exhausts, there may have been two, but he said they were like square. But he said they had like an X, like squiggling like through it. And he said they might have been plasma driven or something. He said, but he could care less about what was rolling around at Area 51 because he was working on the disc technology, and that was far more fascinating than watching this thing. And I was like, wow. And he has a video. He has one video, and I think I put that out there. You guys can check my shorts where he talks about it. So whether the Aurora is the TR3B, which I don't think it is, it could be the same. I don't know, but obviously it replaced the SR-71 Blackbird, which at the time, between the 60s and 70s was the fastest plane out there. And if you guys, maybe you need to put on this channel, there's a video where I put out where they were flying the SR-71 at the edge of space, and they actually had a UFO or a bright light that they had a camera, and it followed it, and it was like right behind it and up on it and close and stuff like that. So, but that was in the 60s. That got retired. So. Yeah, Bob should be on the panel. Hopefully he'll get on the next one. Hopefully he'll see this. Maybe Jeremy Corbell will talk to him and say, hey, Bob, you should have been on here. You shouldn't have denied it. But Jeremy is not the one to force Bob to do something. I mean, remember, Bob didn't want to do the Joe Rogan podcast. And when he did it, he had a migraine headache. So he's got a lot going on. But he didn't want to do that. But he still was on there for 2 hours. So he could have been there. But maybe there were certain things that they would have asked him that he didn't want to talk about. But he could have just denied it. You know, he could have just said, I deny that. I don't want to. No comment. Like he said in interviews from the early 90s, no comment. So, yeah, they probably are different. Like I said, we don't know. That's part of getting this stuff out, is to know what's what. I mean, like Ben Rich said, you know, we now have the technology to take ET home. He said we finally got the calculations right, and that was in the 90s. So whatever they were doing to calculate whatever, they had it wrong up until the 90s, and they finally got it right, and they were able to put it on these craft and do what they need to do. I mean, I think it was several months ago, someone said, well, we mastered anti-gravity in the 50s, not meaning mastered it to where we perfected it, but we were able to utilize it. And that's where the ARVs come in. If you guys ever heard of that, it's called Alien Reproduction Vehicle. And that's just what it is. We actually were trying to replicate an alien craft with materials that we have. And those were some of the first flying saucers that we kind of had out there. And I plan on doing a video to kind of explain it to you guys at some point. So anyway, I was rambling on about stuff. I'm trying to see what else you guys have. The Aurora has a different name to it. Yeah, SR-91. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I know they got an SR-72 they're working on. And it's funny how the name was actually RS, but I think the president at that time, it may have been Roosevelt or something, said SR, so they just said SR. But they are working on an SR-72. And I did hear about that last year. And I think it's actually going to be unmanned. So maybe that's just for the public eye to know. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know if you guys watched this. The meeting today was really important. I don't know if you guys want me to stay on for a few more minutes. We've been on for 53 minutes. We can stay on for another 5 or 6 if you guys want to chat a little bit more, or we can end the discussion. It's up to y'all. The live is about you guys and not me just ramming off and talking or trying to answer any questions that I may have that you guys may have. So now's your time to ask any questions. There's only a few people on, so. All right, Brian, we'll talk to you later. Anybody else? Questions? Give it another minute or two. If not, I'll be like, peace out, and I can work on some videos for y'all to put out there. Do you watch Thinking Honest? No, I don't. I don't watch that. I don't even know what that is. I don't even watch TV anymore, y'all. I actually got rid of TV because nobody watches it, so it was a waste. So we just stream stuff. Yeah, we're definitely something is going on. I think we're being visited by stuff. Oh, it's a YouTube channel. Okay, I'll have to check it out. We're definitely something is going on. I mean, but why it hasn't been exposed to the public, I don't know. I mean, if they've talked to our government before, why haven't they exposed stuff to us? You know, why has only a very select civilians actually seen and had contact with whatever's going on out here? That's what makes everything suspect to me. Not saying that this stuff doesn't exist, but it just makes it more suspect that we haven't seen it, like you and I. You know, the people that are on here right now, we haven't had actual contact. Nothing's come down and talked to us. I don't know why that is. You know, just land somewhere. I don't care. Land in China, land in Australia, land in some remote country where they got flip cell phones. You know, show us something more than what we've seen. All these people, these whistleblowers are coming out and stuff. You know, you would think the whistleblowers would actually give something to somebody else to expose, but it's all right. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, then I could end this in just a few seconds. I do have some videos I gotta look at that people are emailing me now, and I can put that out for you guys. So, all right, I appreciate you guys joining, Jay. I appreciate the donation. Every penny and dime helps. Maybe I'll start doing this software and just I'll take a day or two to figure out this software. So when I go live, I can actually start having a screen kind of right here where my hand is, and it'll minimize where you're seeing me. We can actually pull some stuff up. So, as always, I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for a breakdown of this meeting that Congress had today, because I do plan on doing a video to kind of point out some of the main topics and points and stuff like that. So. Yeah, we are in for disclosure this year. It may not be exactly what people want, but I'm telling y'all, we're going to get, I've been saying this all year, we're going to get some more stuff this year. I guarantee it. We're going to get some clearer footage this year. I guarantee it. We may even see a being or something, or alien being, interdimensional being, demonic being, whatever. We're going to see some stuff this year. And then 2024 is going to be crazy. It really is. So, but you guys stay tuned, because I do have some information talking about a guy who was actually abducted by aliens for years and stuff. And he actually talked about blockchain technology. If you guys are into cryptocurrency and stuff, it's going to be fairly interesting. I wish he had come out with that information before the blockchain actually got big, but he said he knew about the blockchain technology in the 90s and early 2000s. So that's going to be pretty interesting when I get around doing that video. So anyway, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you either tonight or tomorrow.